Hello, and welcome to Light Code Portal. I'm Tanya Griffin, your host, and I'm here with Anna Noyce, the founder of Light Language University and Circle Insights. Tonight, our topic is going to be Light Language 101. How are you, Anna?
Oh, I'm good today. Thank you. And how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a beautiful October day.
I love fall.
I do too. So, Anna, tell me about our logo. Tell me about the logo for Light Language University.
Okay, so I have a cat that's trying to get up here, so excuse me, I'm pushing her off the desk. The light language logo. Okay, so it's mind. We have the triangle that it's mind, body, and spirit. We have the circles that represent the different types of dimensions, and the colors are the higher frequencies. And the golden phoenix is the human being rising out of the Piscean age, coming into the Aquarian age to step in as the multidimensional being. And in the heart, you'll see a little triangle, which represents again the mind, body, and spirit coming together, and us as a whole, because sometimes we forget we're whole as multidimensional beings. And with that, I have a question for you.
Okay. All right.
So, what do you know about light workers?
Light workers. Well, pretty much everybody is a light worker.
Yes,
It's all about um, doing or actually letting your light shine from within. It's working and trying to create that higher frequency and bringing everybody in.
exactly. Exactly. And I think a lot of people, we forget that light is also intelligent and energy and how we connect uh, with all of that frequency and raising. And that's kind of what our logo is about is stepping into that power and holding that space and recognizing that we're part of everything and everything's a part of us.
Correct. And so, for people who think that light workers are a specialty area, what would you tell them?
Well, it isn't. We all are doing. We're all touching. We're all communicating. And I think tonight we're going to talk a little bit about light language 101 and how that kind of merges in with our light language and kind of discuss a little bit about light language.
Exactly. All right, Anna, I know that your father was kind of a mystic. He had his own following and his own. Can you tell me a little bit about what you learned from your father growing up?
Yes, well, we called him the Cosmic Cowboy, and he was also an artist and a speaker, and he wrote books, and he also gave talks. But one of the things that we had was a ranch, and I've talked about this numerous times on different interviews, and we've done other podcasts. But really, growing up in the ranch was understanding our energy and how everything was connected. And part of that was survival. Part of that was just understanding how to communicate with the animals and to also work on the ranch. It was all together congruent as everything kind of fit together in place. So I've told the story before, understanding that when I wasn't in my power, it made the horses nervous, or it made the bull want to charge me, or it wanted, it put me in danger. But when I stood in my power and I held my space, the animals kind of went, okay, we know what you're about. And they kind of went on and did about their own business. And again, I've by accident have taken the oats, wasn't paying attention, and stepped into the bullpen. And of course, the bull's looking at me. I'm looking at the bull, going, whoops. And it could have been not so good, but it turned out to be okay because I was able to, because that fear goes right through you. And I was able to hold that power, hold the space, and communicate to the bull that I wasn't going to hurt it. I was just there. And the bull stopped and went about doing what it was doing. And I was able to slip out and then, of course, freak out later, going, oh my goodness, that could have been bad.
Yeah, exactly. So, Anna, tell me a little bit about what light language is.
Mm. So if you were to go on the internet and Google it, you would possibly come up with someone speaking, and what we call it is the galactic tongue, or the galactic terms, or then so they're speaking the galactic language. And that kind of sounds almost like gibberish or speaking in tongues for some people if you don't understand it. Um, and so it may sound a little strange, but it is very healing because and of course, everybody's speaking light language. You don't even realize it, just you're speaking English because every consonant that you say is grounding you into the physical world, and every vowel that you speak is opening up to the heavens and to the spiritual. So we as beings are both physical and spiritual beings. And when we speak, we're speaking a language that's both physical and spirit by the sounds that we make. Also, encoded in our voices, you sound different than I do, and I sound different than everybody else and than you. But encoded in our voices are the language, are the frequencies from other lifetimes, past, present, and future, from the monad, from different experiences that come in and merge together in our language, in our voices, and the resonance of us. And not only in our resonance of our voice, but the light language is also a part of the spirit anatomy that's a part of us. And if we put our hands out and go all the way around, we've talked about this before, and go up and down, we're really 30% in our body, the other 70% is outside. So that energy frequency is us. And I always like to tell the students, it's kind of like stuffing an elephant into a Mini Cooper. We're the human being. We're really, most of us are outside of that Mini Cooper. And so light language is how we communicate when we pass by each other. We don't even have to touch. Our energies just kind of get together, and we have this language that opens up other frequencies, it opens up other experiences from other dimensions, it opens up other time frames, it collapses time frame. It's incredible. And that's kind of what we talk about in Light Language 101, because there's so much about light language, because it's every aspect. It's even how we connect on a conscious level with each other and the universe. It's just amazing. So I hope that was that was good.
So you did mention one thing, and I want to see if we can maybe elaborate a little bit more on it, and that's the spirit anatomy.
Oh, yes. Well, spirit anatomy is a big part of it, because we have to remember that our physical bodies is only part of that. The spirit body is interconnected, interwoven, and that spirit has its own language. And we always think, again, that light language, our language, is going to be a verbal or something in a language that we understand or hear, but it's a nonverbal language. It's an energy, it's an expression of us and our light, our essence, and who we are, and how we connect with others. So that anatomy is really important in understanding how to get our chakras, our meridians, our hairlines, our different frequencies on the levels, the different layers of the aura, and how everything's moving. And so we talk about how this works, and we really go into intricate detail to show how emotions can shift things and put blocks or stop us from manifesting things in our lives. So yeah, spirit anatomy is amazing. It also shows how the organs heal, how the organs shift, how the organs become ill, how we pick up things. So that's another thing that we can talk about.
Okay.
Mhm.
So now I have another question for you. And this is another term that you will hear. It's called shifting of the ages. So, can you tell me a little bit about what shifting of the ages is and why it's such an important thing right now?
Yes. So in 2012, when we thought everything was going to collapse and it was going to be the end of the world, it really was the end of the world, but it was a different type of the end of the world. It was the shift that where we went from the Piscean age, really stepping into the Aquarian age. And what happened is the frequency on the planet rose. not only the planet, but the whole universe. And we started to vibrate, meaning that we were vibrating like this, and all of a sudden we start vibrating faster and quicker. And when that happens, what it did is it started awakening people into their five. So every physical sense is matched by a spiritual sense. And for most of the time of the Piscean age, we're very busy um, being aware of what's around us so that we don't bump into things, or if there's a saber-toothed tiger, or if we're driving, we're paying attention. But it keeps us, um, we kind of collapsed our spirit senses that are part of the etheric senses that we have. And so what happens is as we started vibrating faster, these started reconnecting. So some of us are waking up and going, oh my goodness, we're seeing ghosts, spirits. We're having these experiences. We're remembering past lives. We're because all of the world has changed. So with that, where do you go and how do you learn about what's happening in your life? Because now the world's being repatterned and it's shifting into this new age of stepping into our power, of really learning how to be exactly like the symbol behind you, mind, body, and spirit, and be these new human beings that are not just physical beings with a spirit inside, but recognizing that we're so much more. We're multidimensional and we have the ability to be to use those gifts, the intuitive gifts, along with our physical gifts to create and change. And so the whole world is shifting and changing.
Okay. And to answer your question, you said, where do people go? They come to us. That's why they come and take Light Language 101. And so, in doing that, one of the things that is really important that we teach in that is about the four levels of consciousness. So, can you speak a little bit about why that is so important to
Oh,
understand?
absolutely. So, four levels of consciousness. I know we've spoken about it before, but it would be like me telling you, this is not my hand. And you'd be looking at me going, silly person, that is your hand. And I'm like, no, these hands do not belong to me. They belong somewhere else. The same thing with the levels of consciousness. We are always connected to the four levels of consciousness. So I'll say what they are. The first one's individual, where we recognize ourselves. The second one is groups. And groups is kind of a big deal because it has to do with not only our family, friends, and the people that we work with, but it also has to do with other people that are on the same kind of mission or the same kind of lessons, life lessons. And it can be anywhere around the world, but we're all connected in that group thinking. So if we want to go and save dogs, we're all the people that want to go save dogs or hug trees or create something big for humanity, or people who want to buildings. We're all part of that consciousness, if that makes sense. And then there's the collective, or the mass consciousness, which is every human being's connected on that space, and every human being is connected. So then we have the last one, that's the third, and that's the fourth one is God, creator, or the one that holds everything together. So at different points of our life, we're aware of different segments of those consciousness. Or if we're really connected and we've really done our work and our time, then we can open the space and really start seeing these different levels and experiencing them on and having these amazing adventures, you might say.
All right. So, my next question for you is, with Light Language University, we're a little bit different when it comes to talking about protection. We're not ones that teach people how to do certain protections. Can you explain why?
Yes, actually, that's a good one for you because you've been with me teaching and you've been doing your student teaching. Do you want to elaborate on that one?
Sure, absolutely. So the reason that is because we teach you how to stand in your own power. It's not necessary to bring anything else when you're in your own power and you're expanding your energy. You don't need protection. You are your own protection. You're creating your own. And there's no reason for protection because there's nothing to protect from.
Exactly. And I just want to add, when we think we need protection, then you probably do need protection because you're calling it in. When we think we need patience, then you're calling in for more experiences to give you patience. When you stand in your power and hold the space, that's when you become powerful and you can start calling things in that you want to create, not things that you don't want to create. So, yeah, we really go into that in 101.
Hmm. Now, being a new grandmother myself, one of the things that we've started noticing is, and this is not just because it's my grandbabies either, I've noticed this in my friends' grandchildren as well. The children that are coming in now, they seem to be very advanced. They learn faster. You see a lot more autism, and some of that can be linked to different things. Can you speak to why this is this seems to be a trend going on now?
Yes. And it's funny because in the Piscean age, we really like to put people in boxes and we like to categorize things. The Aquarian age blew off the lid and just shot us completely out of the box. And what we're finding is that when everything, and this is the Earth, started to raise frequency along with the universe, and it was down here vibrating, and then all of a sudden it starts vibrating up here on this higher frequency, and the souls that were coming in are only coming in from a short distance. So they're remembering their past lives. They're remembering their spiritual gifts. They're able to step in their power quicker. And it can be a little scary for the rest of us because we had to lower our energy on the earth when it was vibrating a lower vibration, and we had to lower, 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 lower. So we had amnesia. We kind of forgot some of those things. And we're also looking at these beautiful gifted beings that are coming in to express light, to open up the frequencies that are attracted now into the earth that weren't attracted before, because now it's at a frequency that's more interesting than it was before. And especially the autism. When we look at autism, we look at it from, and I always like to say the universe is dyslexic. And we have this slide in our class where the cat's scratching on a mirror. And if you've ever seen a cat, see itself in the mirror and it thinks there's another cat, but really there's a whole nother existence on the other side of the mirror that we forget about because we are only aware of this side. And when you flip it, you realize that the autism, the kids that are ADD, they're remembering more what it's like to be spirit. They're remembering how to be um, more focused on something or how to move very quickly. Or even the dyslexics are coming in and recognizing that it is flipped and seeing how to step in and change. So our whole world is, in a way, in the next it takes 2600 years, and we just started 2012, and people, there's controversy that if it started in 2012, did it start 5 years 500 years later than 2012 or before. There's a bunch of people, but our guides, the golden beings that came in, said 2012 was really a big shift for us and the frequency, and we're seeing that. You're seeing people kind of being displaced and going, well, we've never done that before and it's never happened that way. Well, and now it's changed. Well, I don't know what to do now everything's COVID has put us all on Zoom. So many people, we had to adjust very quickly. Things are happening in the world, and it's unsettling, but it's okay because transition always has that kind of cutting edge, and it gets us into the next step where we need to be.
Right.
And I was just going to say, these children are amazing because they're helping us shift. They're showing us the
They
way.
are. They are amazing. Okay, so now since everyone is a light worker, can everyone talk to their guides for guidance?
Absolutely. Now, have we forgotten how to? Some of us, yes, we have. And so there's this little thing that we call twilighting. And Tanya, do you want to dig into that one? That's a good one. that we kind of talk about in one of the tools that we use?
Absolutely. So twilighting is in that one area where you get it's when you're not quite awake, but you're not quite fully asleep yet. You're in that theta state. You're still very aware of everything around you. And a lot of people, I've had people that have come to me and said, I would be almost asleep and I would hear a voice or someone would talk to me. And I said, yes, it's because you're able to because you're in that space. So that's twilighting. It's that little in between space where you can communicate. It gets you into that theta wave.
Exactly. It's that sweet spot.
Hmm.
So yeah, we always encourage it. And it takes practice because a lot of people will fall asleep. And
Yes.
it took me several years to get used to that. Now I can hold it for several hours. And you can have classes, you can work with your guides, you can go on um, different trips around the universe and other dimensions with them. So it's pretty amazing. Get information, past, present, future. Um, so yeah.
Okay. So the last one that I have for you is, why is Light Language 101 a prerequisite for Light Language 102?
Ah, that's a good one. Yes, because of not only the language, but we use stories. We talk about tools. If you're in 102 and we're going very quickly into consciousness and we're learning how to shift our frequencies and match energy, and you don't understand and you're fearful, you're not going to be able to follow in 102. You really have to master yourself in 101. So we also have developing groups and where people can learn about themselves and really work about 20 hours on themselves and then move into clinical hours if they want to go into that. But we also have study groups. And you just led a study group last night that was really well.
Yes, we have the study groups for the Light Language 101 and 102, and that's to help people who've taken it to further their experience with that, to help them to understand, because there is so much that you learn that it takes that practice to get into that routine to get it down. And then, of course, with the developing groups, that comes with our higher level courses, such as Akashic Records, shamanic journeying, medical intuitive, spirit rescue, and so forth.
And what a great way to meet people of like minded and community and have those discussions where you can't normally have those discussions and get that practice in. So yeah, and the teachers come in to work with the students as well. So it's a good deal.
It is. And in addition to that, we also have the new to this class, which you can sign up for. We do that, it's twice a month. And that class is kind of tailored for people who have not taken 101 or 102. They're new to this awakening, they're new to this field, and they're looking for some place to go to kind of get some of their questions answered.
Exactly. Yes.
And that way we can kind of help them and guide them which way they need to go, or, how to get some information.
Yes. Wonderful. Yeah.
So, okay, well, we're going to close tonight. I want to mention that October the 30th at the Event Center in Plano, we will be at the Holistic Festival of Life. It will be open from 10 to 6. Our very own Jeannie Mills, our Assistant Dean of Education, is going to be presenting panels. We're going to have speaker panels. This is an educational event. We have 3 panels. The first one is going to be healers that use tools to help facilitate with their healings. We have some beautiful, beautiful individuals that will be speaking. We have Miss Barbara Larrabee, CJ Brendanson, Mary Ellen Dory, and Cassie Clayton. They will all be there and they'll be talking about the different modalities that they use to help heal people. Then our second panel, sorry, that first one is from 11 to 1. Our second panel is healers that don't use tools, that just use energy or something, natural sources. That one will be from 1:30 to 3:30. There again, we have some very beautiful, very knowledgeable individuals coming and speaking and educating, because this is all about educating. We have Miss Kathy Reeder, um, Miss Teresa Beddick, Miss Joy Koff, and our very own Anna Noyce. And so then our final panel will be from 4 to 6 p.m., and that's going to be a mediumship panel. And that's one you definitely want to come to. We have Dallas's own Tracy Escobar, the Red Couch Medium, as well as Lana Johnson. And then Anna will also be speaking on that panel, as well as myself. So this is an educational event. So if you've ever walked into a fair and you did not know where to start, you see healers, you see mediums, but you don't understand the differences in what one does and what one doesn't do, this is where you want to come. You will come in and you will learn what the different nuances are and where you might want to go from there. So we thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have a one class coming up this weekend. It's Light Codes and Sacred Geometry. If you've had medical intuitive, please join us this weekend. Sign up for our workshop. We will have our next Light Code portal in 2 weeks. Just pay attention to our calendar on our website. Miss Elizabeth, our marketing and media director, she keeps all that up to date for us. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Good night.
Right.